Raise your hand if you think President Trump's policies on the economy would be better for your family personally. Raise your hand. All right, so that is everybody.
None of it is good news for Joe Biden or the Democrats, or for that matter, Mika Brzezinski. So the polls are rolling in now, and it's not just national polls. It's not just state-by-state polls. We've got polls that break down by age group, by demographic, by sex, by ethnicity, whatever you want, about how people are feeling with regard to policies, with regard to the economy, with regard to all of the things that matter most to you. And plus, focus groups are happening on a regular basis where they're asking voters, where do you stand right now? What's upsetting you? What are you hoping for in the election? And who are you going to vote for? And none of it is good news for Joe Biden or the Democrats, or for that matter, Mika Brzezinski and the good folks at MSNBC. Here she is expressing only can be described as rage at everyday Americans who don't agree with her about how great Biden is and how awful Trump is.
I want to show two more. The undecided voters were also asked how they think President Biden is doing on the economy. Take a listen.
I think he's been absolutely disastrous for the economy.
I agree.
Raise your hand if you think President Trump's policies on the economy would be better for your family personally. Raise your hand. All right, so that is everybody. President Biden argues that his economic record has been very good. He said President Trump's was not as good. What are you keying off of, Sean? Since you had the best smile, and Virginia had the second best smile, what are you keying off of to say President Trump's economic policies would be better for you?
My past performance of my 401k. I know it was post 2020 and everything kind of flipped around, but you can't blame everything on 2020 for forever.
We have areas here in Pennsylvania where it's just at a standstill right now. Like, things are supposed to be being built and the interest rates are just way too high for people to invest and start moving around.
And Virginia, just staying with you because Pennsylvania is near and dear to Joe Biden's heart. Are there Biden policies that you would blame for the problem? And if so, what are they?
The interest rate is so high right now. And I know they're trying to cut the inflation down, but like, if nobody is building, no businesses are really coming to Pennsylvania right now to keep us moving forward.
Even if you're trying to buy a house, because I'm trying to become a first-time home buyer, the prices are so high right now. It's just hard.
Is there anything Joe Biden could do or say between now and the time you vote that would make you feel differently about feeling that his policies would not be as good for your family on the economy? Or are you pretty much decided that Trump's policies would be better for the economy?
I mean, I feel like he doesn't even take accountability for what's going on in the economy. Not even accountability, like he's in denial that it's happening.
The point is Biden needs to hear the people, because when he's talking about the economy doing stellar, he's talking about the stock market. He's not looking at homelessness or joblessness. He's not, at Evie's point, thinking about how much it costs to go to the grocery store. And he's gaslighting literally everyone in the process.
And Omar, you voted for Joe Biden last time, right?
Yeah.
Some really important and hard insights for the Biden campaign to hear there. And hearing all that, you might think things are pretty bad for President Biden. That was not good.
And she seems kind of angry about it. She actually went on in this segment to express her anger and frustration that the voters just aren't paying attention. That's what the White House message is right now. You heard that from Pete Buttigieg over the weekend, right? Well, really the most untold. I'm trying to do his smug Kermit the Frog voice. But if you want to sound like Pete Buttigieg, just try to do a Kermit the Frog, but be smug about it. The big untold story in American politics is how robust the Biden economy is. He's not getting enough credit for how great things are. That's the only message they've got. Things are great. And if you don't feel it, that's your problem. Open up your eyes at how great things are. And the problem is people are opening up their eyes when they go to the grocery store, or when they try to sell their house, or even worse, when they try to buy a house and they get an interest rate that is 4 times higher than it was just 3 years ago before Joe Biden became president. It's an absolute disaster. And I know that panel was supposedly called the Undecideds, but it seems like they've decided. That's the other interesting thing about the polls that we see right now, is that there's still like between 7 and 12% of the electorate who claim that they're undecided. Really, at this point, since this is the exact same choice we had 4 years ago, you're undecided about which way to go between Trump and Biden? No, I think you've decided. You just don't want to say. And we know why you don't want to say. We see what happens to people who say they support Donald Trump. We get it. You don't have to say. Just keep it to yourself. Keep your head down. Keep your eye on the prize. Get to the election polling place next November and vote. That's all. Just vote. But because the economy is so bad, because the undecideds reacted that way and pissed off Mika Brzezinski, well, the Democrats and the media, they're going to do whatever they can to talk about everything except the economy, everything except the crime in the streets, everything except the border crisis and illegal immigration and how it's hurting us every which way. They want to talk about everything except national security and the fact that there's wars in the Middle East and wars in Europe and threats coming from China. They want to talk about everything except those things. So what are they going to do? They're going to divide us. They're going to divide us over abortion. They're going to divide us over race. But I don't think that's going to work either. Take a look at these undecided voters who supported Donald Trump, who supported Joe Biden last time around. Black voters in Georgia. What are they thinking now?
Gaza, then there's not really a discussion for me.
When we met at this barbecue restaurant in Atlanta, all four told me they were raised and originally registered as Democrats. But this year, the president's handling of the Israel-Gaza war has turned them away.
I think what Biden has done in aiding and abetting in genocide is just something I cannot stand for.
You're willing to withhold your vote in the presidential election unless there is a ceasefire.
Yes.
And it's implemented.
Yes.
Not voting could mean Donald Trump gets into office. Do you think he'll be better on Gaza?
Trump would probably say flatten Gaza and make it into a golf course. I have absolutely no faith in him.
Would you not say that also the people who are not voting for one of the two people who are the likely people to really be in this race have a role to play in kind of giving the race to Donald Trump in a state like Georgia where it's going to be like razor thin?
Yeah, no, I'll do you one better, actually. I think that just means that's why the Democrats should listen.
Exactly.
Now, I'm not buying the narrative that the major beef with Joe Biden is the handling of Israel and Hamas. I think this gets headlines from activists, but this is making an impact on why Biden is making the decisions he's making right now. The problem is if he does that to accommodate this very small vocal minority, he's actually going to be alienating other voters. But someone's talking in his ear and convincing him that this is the biggest problem he's got. And yeah, those people aren't going to vote for Donald Trump. But if they do, in fact, stay home, that does hurt Joe Biden in a big way. Also, a lot of young voters are turning to Robert F. Kennedy. And that brings us to this other NBC News report, specifically about where young voters are right now. Because Joe Biden is trying to unconstitutionally give everybody free money to pay off part of their student loans. You know, those student loans that they freely and willingly agreed to pay off someday. And now they're screaming and crying and begging for the government and Grandpa Joe Biden to reach into a pocket that doesn't already have any money in it in the first place and print new money to pay off those student loan debts. Yeah, those student loan debts. Well, in a cynical approach of trying to get more young voters on his side, he announced this new student loan payoff scam, and it's still not helping him with young voters. Take a look at these numbers.
In the 2020 NBC News exit poll, candidate Biden led former President Trump by 24 percentage points among voters under 30. But an NBC survey in January had President Biden up by just 8 percentage points among that group. Another poll last month showed Mr. Trump ahead by 18 points among voters under 30.
Wow. Now, listen, of course, those numbers are all over the place, but for the Fox News poll to actually show Trump ahead by 18 points in that 18 to 29 demographic, that's unheard of. That's astounding. That's a death certificate for Joe Biden. Listen, I don't know if Donald Trump is going to win with those voters, but I do know this. There is a viable option for those voters right now if they don't want to vote for Trump and they don't want to vote for Biden, and it's RFK Jr. Robert Kennedy is appealing to Gen Z. Robert Kennedy is appealing to those young voters, and that could be enough in those states like Georgia, like Pennsylvania, like Michigan, Wisconsin, even Arizona. if enough of Biden's supporters in that age group decide, yeah, I don't like Trump, but I don't like Biden either, I'll just vote for Kennedy. Kennedy's not going to win a damn state, but he's certainly going to lose a state for Joe Biden. And that's where the numbers are headed right now.